Hello, lovely viewers. Welcome back to our cozy corner of YouTube called Survival Shows, where we are spreading the holiday cheer all year around. Today, we have a very special episode in store for you, as we are joined by two amazing guests who have already stolen our hearts in the great American family movie, A Royal Christmas Holiday. We are here today with Brittany Underwood, who portrays the charming Katie, and Jonathan Stoddard, who bring to life to the dashing Prince Jonathan. A Royal Christmas Holiday is the 21st and final new Christmas movie of 2023 for Great American Family. And this one is our last interview for this Christmas season. Welcome and thank you for being here today.
Course.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And
Thanks
let's
for having me.
begin. How did you approach, for Jonathan, how did you approach portraying the character of an impetuous prince? And what elements of his personality did you find most intriguing?
Oh, great questions. I will say for the first part of the question, fortunately, approaching this kind of a character, Brittany and I have done this kind of thing before with last year's A Prince and Pauper Christmas. So the royal element, the Christmas element, the British prince from some beautiful castle someplace, and royal family. So there's already a certain amount of groundwork established when it's still the same kind of genre and the same people, and there's that familiarity and friendliness and everything. I will say what made this gentleman a little more interesting, Prince Jonathan, is I felt in the writing, and actually Brittany, I'm curious because now you've experienced both of them as well. Um, he he feels a little more like protected, reserved, versus I feel like my other character last year was more rebellious, or more, there was more of like a childish angst, whereas this is more, I'm not quite sure, but there's something
You're
definitely
right.
more interesting and maybe even a little more rigid or something about Prince Jonathan that loosens up later.
Yeah, I think it was Prince Alexander, right? Is that your last Prince? He's done like four Prince
For a
movies.
last one,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the last movie, I think Prince Alexander was like thirsty for an adventure. Like he was really searching for that and felt like he got it in that opportunity. And I think
Yeah.
Prince Jonathan was more like dealing with a romantic situation that he wasn't happy in. And so it was more of a thirst for love that he found. It was like a little bit, I agree with you. It's a little bit more serious of a Prince role than the last one.
Yeah, he's a lot less playful.
Yes. Yeah,
He
definitely.
he has more of that stuffiness about him.
Yeah. 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 I would agree with
But
that.
he's still a lot of fun, and I will say it's just always great to work with familiar people,
Yeah.
especially like Brittany. Come on.
I know. This is our fourth movie together already.
Yeah.
It's like a walk in the park. We already know.
Great. And for Brittany, as
Mhm.
an ambitious reporter in the film, what aspects of your character's journey resonate with you personally, and
Mhm.
how did you prepare for this role?
Yeah, I actually felt a strong connection to Katie because she she like wants she has a very strong passion and a sense of if she wants something, she's going to go after it. Like a big drive that she had to get the interview with the prince. So I really liked how driven and passionate she was. Um, and I had a girlfriend who studied, she was going to be a news anchor. So I actually talked to her about the role. But yeah, no, I thought Katie was really fun and exciting because she was so excited about the journey she was about to embark on. So hopefully that carries through.
Great. And for both of you, what drew you to this particular holiday film, and what do you think set this movie apart from the other seasonal movies, Christmas movies?
You want to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
um, So there's actually a great story for the buildup of this movie, because when we did Prince and Pauper afterward, they had said, well, we want to do this, we want to bring you and Brittany back for sure. We love your guys' chemistry. We love everything about the movie, and it was great. And so, but we want to do this kind of almost heist version or James Bond kind of style, just something that's a little more adventure, clue, kind of mystery based thing. And so Brittany and I were like, that sounds awesome. That's great. Let's do it. We didn't get a script. It's now the new year. We didn't have a script. We're like, this is still happening, right? We check in with it. We're like, yeah, it's still going on. It's still going on. We finally get a script. Both Brittany and I read it, and all I remember is at one point I think I called you, Brittany, and I was like, this is not James Bond. You heard that too, right?
Right. Yeah, I forgot about that. You said something like that the other day. I was like, oh, that's right. I completely forgot about that whole thing. You're right. Yeah.
Like, there was something. And so anyway, we both read it, and it's fun and it's cute and it's a great story. And something that I will say that I think separates this movie or sets it apart is that there is there are some rom-coms where there is that instant falling in love, and then it's kind of a forced uh there's almost like an interesting situational situations of falling in love kind of thing, as opposed to really getting to know the characters or having certain unique things happen. So in this one, there's the stuff with her father and her family and the journey and the drive, like what she was talking about, her having, uh, this desire to be able to move forward in her career and to be this, beautiful, driven woman. And then meanwhile, he has this thing where he has this pressures from his family. Like they're I don't know, they're just these really beautiful characters that are already established, and how they meld together is, I think, really quite wonderful in my opinion.
Yeah, it was sweet. I think I loved that it just so happens in the story that Katie gets a call and she has to deal with something with her family. So Prince Jonathan ends up going with her, and there's something that's very bonding about meeting a significant or potential significant other's family, because you instantly, kind of see where they came from and their values and their kind of vibe of, you get to see them on a deeper level and understand them on a deeper level, I think, pretty quickly when you meet family members. So, because it happens over a few days, so I think that kind of is a beautiful plot point that allows for an authentic acceleration of those feelings,
Yeah.
'cause it's a deeper getting to know each other.
Perfect. And for Jonathan, what were some of the challenges you faced in portraying a character, experiences a clash of cultures between royalties and the bustling life of New York City?
Uh, Interesting. The I'll say that playing the like diving into the British royalty and some of that world, I keep wanting to find ways to make the characters more interesting or have more depth or different than the previous Prince versions. And I don't want them all to be the same flavor. Like I want them to be different and have different kind of mannerisms or different kinds. So like with Prince and Pauper, there were certain things I would do with my hands. And for Prince Jonathan in this one, there were certain things that I wanted to bring to him that I have to be careful about not leaning too much into the crown and going too royal, and but still having him be grounded and likable and still kind of Americanized while exploring and doing, all due respect to another culture as well, and doing them justice without it being, a mockery or something like that. So I don't have a straight answer necessarily, but it's a fun, delicate balance, and I think that's part of the craft of just playing with what the scene calls for, and then when you're working with your co-stars and, seeing what Brittany's bringing and how I'm responding and playing with that. And I will say, when we're on set, and even like I'm doing in the interview, I always end up checking with Brittany like throughout the scene. And it's are there, and I think it's so important to check in with your scene partner in general, of if we have the time, is how did that feel? How did it read? Because what I'm doing versus how it's being perceived could be two different things. So I try to approach every character like that, and hopefully I did Prince Jonathan some justice, and that's why trusting your co-star is also really important.
It's so important because like you want to feel like you have a teammate, and that's why it is so helpful when you already know that person, because you have that rapport, you have that closeness, you have that level of comfortability. And I think Jonathan and I were really good about like, are you good? Like, do you need anything from me? Especially like when it comes to their coverage, I like to ask that too. Like, do you need anything from me? And it's really awesome to get that reciprocated and feel like you guys are working together on something, because it is a collaborative process, and some actors, are a little bit more, I guess, individualistic with some of their prep or stuff, and full respect for everybody's process, but it is a real treat when you get have that synergistic approach, especially when the characters are meant to be connected. I mean, sometimes when your characters aren't meant to be on the same page about stuff, some people do go full method and they're like, don't, which is fine, respect it. But again, to work with someone like Jonathan, who is so giving and does make sure to check in with you, to make sure he's giving you what you need. It's just a really, really big treat. I like working with Jonathan a lot.
Love working with you. Yeah.
Love working with you too.
And for Brittany, as an actress, how do you find the balance between portraying a character's professional ambitions and their personal growth in a romantic storyline?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
As an actress, how do you find the balance between portraying a character's professional ambitions and their personal growth in a romantic storyline?
Oh, I think it's so similar to life, right? Like the whole work-life balance. The first movie Jonathan and I did together was all about work-life balance. The lead girl, I was directing it, but the lead girl was like a workaholic. And, the whole moral of the story was you need to have a work-life balance. So I think that a part of it is also like her drive and her ambition for her work life. She kind of hasn't put a lot of time and effort into her romantic life, and her mom, kind of calls it out a little bit. But I think it's one of those things that a really beautiful thing happens when you're not looking. And because she's been so driven and focused, she hasn't been distracted by any type of romantic opportunity. It had to be something really special to pull her out of the work only mentality. And so that's what made it Christmassy magical to just find a true romance, as opposed to somebody who's, always looking for romance. She was so focused. It just kind of came to her. Yeah.
Great. And for both of you, what was the most memorable or enjoyable scene for you to film, and why did it the most favorite for you?
I have two.
Okay, so two.
Do you have one, Jonathan, or you want me to go first?
No, I mean, so I have you can go first. I have the first one that pops in my head, but yeah,
okay,
go ahead.
Pick two and I'll pick two. Okay, perfect. So one of my favorite ones was Jonathan. I mean, it's airing tonight. Like, I don't think this gives anything away. But and they promoted already. So Jonathan at one point dresses up like Santa Claus and deals with all these children asking for their wish. And a lot of that was improvised. And it was so cute to see Jonathan in a Santa outfit with children just being so cute with them. And I felt like really in that moment, like I really was just watching Jonathan be Jonathan and cute and adorable. So that was a really sweet moment. And also it was like a fully decked out Christmas store. So you really just felt like it was Christmas and you felt in the mood for that. And then the second one is like the finale. And I don't want to say what happens, but you know, I always like the bow on the end of it and to tie it all up. And yeah, the final moments I think are always really special to film in those movies. Those are
No, those are great moments.
What do you got? The wind blowing in the hair. That was a hilarious.
Well, because so we have this, it's Buffalo, New York, right?
Yeah.
So the wind chill and is ridiculous, and we're filming at a naval like museum, and so we have to film with these big ships behind us, and the wind is just going crazy. And the reason why it's so memorable and one of my favorite moments is there's actually a really fun animated movie, right, called Inside Out. And one of the lessons of the movie, which was really special, is that sadness or depression and happiness are usually hand in hand. Some of the saddest moments are where we end up finding the creativity or connecting with family members and feeling the love and joy from the consolation of a friend or realizing how people care. And then all of a sudden we have the greatest, happiest moments of our life of feeling loved and appreciated and all that kind of stuff. And so when we were doing these scenes and we started walking as an example, Fred, our director, was like, okay, let's block it, which means we're going to walk the scene. Let's talk it. Let's see where the camera's going to go. And at first, as we start walking, with Brittany and her hair, I have shorter hair that's hairsprayed. It's not really going too many places. But for Brittany, she's like, so Prince Jonathan, how? And then she has to pull it aside. She's like, how do you feel about, and then it goes again. And we're like, okay, so we obviously can't change the wind, but we have to now do this choreography to where maybe we'll start walking and then we kind of have to do this dance and turn. And so Brittany and I, when we get into creative scene situations, we just riff off each other and we're like, okay, well, we can do this. We can make this work. We can pull this off, make this natural. Let's jump over here. We can have Jonathan then come back around this way. This will work for camera over here. And we kind of start playing with it. So it's like, okay, now the wind's going to be, now she'll have, the supermodel hair. and we figured out a way to make it work. And those kinds of creative, resourceful moments for me when we're on set are always some of the most enjoyable as to how did we make that work considering what and how it started. And so that's one of my favorite moments. Everything else that runs smoothly and joyously, all of that is fantastic, don't get me wrong, but I love that in the moment iron chefing, figuring it out, like we don't know what ingredients we have from weather to anything else, and we're going to make it work. And yeah, so that's one of my favorite moments for sure.
What Jonathan didn't mention is he was very much so like a volunteer to be like, okay, I will get the wind at my back and deal with my hair mess so that Brittany doesn't have to deal. Yeah. So Jonathan had like this coming for the bed and gave me the wind facing angle so that I wouldn't have to deal with it. So going back to how great it is to work with a teammate who you feel always has your back. I don't think that there was ever a moment where I felt he didn't have my back. And that is truly special.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah. Great. And for Jonathan, what aspects of the Prince journey did you find the most relatable?
Oh, well, I feel like we've all had these kinds of interesting moments throughout our lives. And I've definitely had it, whether that's through school or through anything in our career, which is basically imposter syndrome. I mean, hello, I'm an actor. Welcome to imposter syndrome. So I think there's a lot of really interesting stuff with his character, from family pressure to social pressure, polite society pressure, and how he finds someone worth reflecting on himself hard enough for, to where he wants to make a change. And I think that's something that we all crave. I know that it's some of the most beautiful moments in relationships that I've ever had, where the people that made me want to be better and the people that made me really want to face myself. And his character, I think that's a big part of the arc of, I'm here, I'm kind of, just going with the pressure and the expectation, and then meeting somebody and just being like, I don't want to be that way anymore. I want to have nobility. I want to have integrity. I want to be in line with myself. And it's not only just meeting her, but it's meeting her family dynamic. And there's a lot of growth that happens throughout it, but she is the catalyst that starts this incredible journey of self-realization or self-exploration and the desire to be better. And so that's something I identify with, from friends to family, and just going on that journey, that personal journey of wanting to be better and realizing, the moments when we slip up, because you can go better and then all of a sudden you catch yourself again doing something else, and you're like, why am I doing that? And it's, so yeah, he's identified a lot with his journey and his arc, and it was a lot of fun. It was great.
Great. And for both of you, what do you hope audiences take away from the film, especially in terms of its message about love, Christmas, and what truly matters in life?
You want to go first, or shall I?
You can start. I did the last one.
Okay. For me, the most important thing is connection. And whether that be with family or just in relationships, with each other, we're here to interact with each other and to learn from each other. And I think that relationships are the biggest teachers about yourself, and also the greatest comfort. So, whether that be romantic or, she also went home and reconnected with her family. I think those are all very important things that help you through life. We aren't meant to be here alone, And I saw something the other day that was like, the secret to a long life, or what dictates the longevity of your life, is how many positive connections you have in your life. And that could be like smiling at someone in the grocery store, or, helping a stranger. Like, they don't have to be all the same level of strength of connections, but any positive interaction you have with another human literally improves your longevity. So I think that speaks to how important those moments are.
Great. Jonathan?
That's awesome. Yeah. I think that's beautifully said.
Thanks, Jonathan.
It's beautifully said, because it's the connecting with other people, and even piggybacking what I was just saying before, even with the journey of connecting with yourself, and to not run from who you are, and to surround yourself with the people that really want to bring out the best of you, or best in you. And then a lot of what the story was about the connection, about supporting each other throughout the journey, and the kind of life that they both want to live. And I think that's what makes the movie kind of fun, and gives it that sweetness that Brittany had mentioned earlier, and that kind of depth, because of meeting the family. Like, I will say, if that family scene wasn't there, with your father and the leg and the Purple Hearts and some of the other things to really bring it home, literally bring it home.
Yes.
Yeah. If that scene wasn't there, this would be missing a certain kind of like backbone or depth to it, that it just wouldn't hold the same kind of weight that this movie has. So Yeah, I don't know. There's something really special about it because of that family element. Instead of just two people going on a couple dates and then falling in love, like there's just something deeper in this, and I think people will feel it when they watch it.
Yeah, and I was so grateful that they let me bring on Danny Pardo to play my dad because
Yes.
I had worked with Danny Pardo a few months prior, and they wanted to make my character like me. I'm half Colombian, so they wanted to have one of the parents be Latino or Latina. And so I was like, well, if it can be the dad, can I get Danny, who is way too young to be my dad, actually, but my character was playing younger, so it ended up working out. But because him and I had that connection already authentically, like I love and adore him so much. And that was such a special moment to see. And that they made my character Latina. Like it kind of comes out of nowhere because we don't talk about it anywhere else. But it also, when that moment happens where you realize that my character's Latina, I feel like that is so my life, where I look so completely white and then I'll whip out Spanish and people will be like, whoa, like you speak Spanish? Like, yeah, I'm Colombian. So it's like a surprise in real life and it's a surprise in the movie. But I loved that they did it in that way because I'm like, that's what it's like always. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the reality of cultural diversity.
Mhm.
It isn't based off of the stereotype, which unfortunately our industry likes to lean into just for the ease of acceptance. But it is like, yeah, 100%. And I love that they're doing it, and they're not adding things like subtitles when you guys speak Spanish.
Right.
There's
Right.
a certain kind of beautiful authenticity of I don't know. I love that they did that. I love that they
Yeah.
did that.
Same. Same. It was really special, actually. I think my family in Colombia, I think is gonna really like that too, because it's just like a little, yeah.
A little homage. Huh?
Yeah. Hola.
And just to piggyback as well, like she brought on or recommended Danny, and so there were a handful of other cast members that made this phenomenal, and that's from Billy to the Billy Baldwin and stuff who's in it as well. Charlotte, Louis Chapman, who I've been friends with for years, and this was our first movie working together. And so throughout the interview, we've talked about the importance of trusting scene partners and the joy of walking in with friends. And so having these people already lined up that we were so familiar with and walking on the set saying, instead of, hey, I'm sorry, what's your name, who are you, cannot let it's like, hey guys, what's up, let's rock and roll.
Before I had worked with Charlene, before she played my long lost sister in a movie. Yes, sorry, it was a while ago. And Jonathan already knew Louis, who has now become one of my like very, very close friends. And we both had worked with Fred before. And I mean, everybody, like Thomas, the DP, like there was so hair and makeup and wardrobe, like it was just a little reunion of so many people that we love. And that was really special.
Yeah,
That was so special.
it
Yeah.
was really special. That was amazing.
Yeah. What a treat.
How was your off-screen chemistry? And did it contribute to the on-screen dynamics between your characters? For both of you, sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, yeah, like we've been saying, this is our fourth movie together. I think we both have come to a point where we really trust each other and kind of can predict in a beautiful way, like how we're each going to play it. And then if we are surprised, it's still surprised in the world of like, nobody's doing anything crazy. That's like, oh, that's quite a choice, like I don't anticipate ever being like, oh, Jonathan, why are you doing that? You know what I mean? Like, I know he's always going to be solid and supportive. And I think that just makes us feel really safe. I feel really safe with Jonathan.
Yeah.
And I think that allows us to relax. And also there's a familiarity there that when you have that romantic connection and spark with somebody, there's always like, I feel like I've known you, So with Jonathan and I, it's because we have. So I hope that kind of colors it in a way that's like they do feel like they've just known each other forever in the way that it feels when you like someone in that way.
Yeah, I mean 100%. And also like some of the fun stuff about doing location shoots is that typically the actors are all hanging out in the same hotel room, or at least they're put in the same hotel room. So when you're done with set, instead of going back to normal life, you have this beautiful excuse, reason, whatever it is, but you have a beautiful opportunity to leave set after you've been working, 10, 12 hours, doing whatever, traveling, fighting the cold and the weather and everything. And then we go back to the hotel room. And so a lot of the times it was Brittany, Louie, and I, and we would hang out, we'd grab dinner, talk about the day, everything that was going on. And it's just, you end up cultivating these really beautiful, deep friendships, talking about it. I mean, we would talk about life. We were getting involved, and the things that were going on in all of our lives, like, it was just so much. And then we would go back to set the next morning, and then we're like, hey guys, okay, let's make this Christmas movie. Great. And then we would finish the movie and then go back to the hotel room, chat, connect, bond. Like, it's just really beautiful when you're in that kind of, like, I love location shoots for that reason.
Me too.
Great.
Yeah.
And for both of you, can you tease us something about your next projects?
Mm.
Oh.
Are you allowed to? You can be vague. Be vague. You got stuff going on. Exciting, very exciting stuff.
I will say, going into next year, there are a number of really interesting projects that are not in the Christmas style. So there are some really, I have some really cool, like, there's a very cool Western that we're going to be doing, like a very gritty, nitty-gritty Western. There's a Memento Christopher Nolan kind of movie that we're doing as well. That's this mystery kind of thing. And my character, there are just some really cool dramas and very stylized pieces and projects that are set up for next year that I'm very, very excited about. Don't get me wrong, there are already a couple Christmas movies, but we
Of course.
I mean, man,
Yeah.
come on, what's Christmas without,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard to necessarily talk about it, some of them, but I will say there are just some cool things coming up. And then in addition to that, there's just a shift of my own perspective and direction creatively that I'm interested in bringing together for cultivating some of my own work, and which, Brittany, we should also talk about certain things.
Oh.
And I know all of this is really vague for anybody listening. Awesome. But it's all exciting. That's all I can tell you. It's exciting and it's worth it.
Yes. He's going to be very busy with awesome stuff. That's pretty much sums it up.
But Brittany's been directing and acting up a storm. She's got, I want to hear what's going on.
Yeah, I just finished directing a movie for Hybrid, which is the production company that did this movie. So that should be coming out at some point next year on, like, Lifetime. And then I also just got back from shooting another movie that we got to shoot on location, which was really cool. So that's a psychological thriller. That's not going to be Lifetime. We don't know where that's going yet. But that was really fun. And then I have another directing gig right after the holidays. And then another potential Christmas movie as well. And yeah, some of my own stuff that I want to start getting made. So yeah, we'll see where next year goes, but I know it will be busy and fun and exciting and creative. So I'm excited for that.
Great.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Brittany and Jonathan, for joining us today. And remember that Royal Christmas Holiday will premiere tonight only on Great American Family.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you all for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.